like midway through the third, I start freaking out, and I go back to the corner, and they're like, "What's wrong?" I can't close my hand, and they're like, "All right, well, just breathe, you're fine." I start freaking out, and I'm like, "Well, you're already here." And then by the time fifth round rolls around, I'm like, "Bro, what round is it?" And I was like, "Fifth round." I was like, "All right, it's broken, bro. Just throw it." I was like, you're already here. Everyone's here watching you. I mean, might as well just finish it with a bang." And it's very. Once you finish, it's like, yeah, I did that. No one else did that but me. And of course, the team helps me out, but at the end of the day, in that cage, it's gonna show if you're a quitter, if you're a fighter.
What's up? This is Gardy with Clear Life Combat. We're here in studio in League City. I have a guest hanging out. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. If you haven't met Marcelo, I'm going to let him fully introduce himself, and we're going to find out everything he has going on. Hey, what's up?
What's going on? It's Marcelo the Mixer Perez. I fight out of the Fight Lab, Texas, out in Katy. Right now, I'm 1-1 with Elevate. Only had my 2 fights, my 1 submission series. So definitely starting to become a familiar face with Elevate.
Yeah, let's talk about the name. The Mixer. Where's that come from? How'd you get it?
Man, for the longest, I was trying to find something that started with the M because, my first name. And so I was stuck between the Mixer, Mr. Mayhem, something along the lines. And I just stumbled upon the Mixer because the way I fight, everyone knows I'm a wrestler. And then with my last fight, I didn't wrestle at all. I pretty much just shrugged. So the Mixer just came about how... at the end of the day, you never know what you're going to get when you fight me, and I don't know what you're going to get. I just go out there and just throw out what's on my mind, and we're just going to figure it out while we go.
Yeah. Take what comes. I mean, you never really know. I guess you can envision how a fight or anything's going to go in life, but you don't really know sometimes till you get in it, right?
Yeah, especially with the fights. Of course, with MMA fights, no one knows what's going to happen. And so whenever I'm in the gym, I just really try to be, just fluid with everything. In my fights, I always say, clear mind, just don't think of none, just really just go how my body goes. And so I really just play my music, loosen up my shoulders. I'm really, one of the most relaxed people in the gym.
Right.
Trying to be real calm, real fluid. If I'm striking, mix up the grappling. I'm very just trying to just go with the motions, really.
Right. So watching your fights, and I've had the opportunity to put together some highlights and look at pretty much everything I think that you've done with with the submission series and with Elevate FC. But when it comes to picking your music, you got Houston on your chest, even your Instagram. I feel like that's a big part. So whenever I was putting together video, I was like, I'm going to find something that I think sounds like Houston flavor.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed or whatever, but I mean, what does Houston mean to you, or why is it like that?
Man, I'm born and raised from Houston. Definitely spent most of my time in Cyprus and had a lot of family in Spring Branch. So I was always just around Houston culture. And just one thing about Houston, you go to Cali, you go to anywhere else, it's very... separate, people, stay in their own lane. And one thing about Houston, it's a big, boiling pot. Houston has its own music. We got the chop and screw. We have our own slang. You walk up to anybody, hey, man, what's going on? You know how it is. You know how it goes. And so I just always loved the culture, ever since I was 6, I listened to Paul Wall, DJ Screw. I was definitely one of the screw heads. Most of my tattoos, actually, I got the Houston on my chest. I got this a bunch of screws, just all screwed up because I was always, in love with the culture. So with my walkout songs, with the Mexican OT, definitely came out with the cowboy hat the last fight.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
So I definitely been trying to embrace it. And like I said, was always from Houston, always from Texas, and I went to college in Iowa, actually. So when I went up there, I was always a kid from Texas. I was always, oh, where you from? I'm from Houston, you know how it goes. So
yeah.
Definitely always was proud of where I'm from.
Right. There's good wrestling up there in Iowa, right?
And the greatest. Wrestling up there is pretty much like football down here. Everyone did as a kid. So whenever I got the opportunity, I ended up getting a scholarship in high school. And it was either I wrestle up there or I stay in Houston. And I was like, might as well. If I want to fight, might as well go to better competition, have that feel. So when I come back, my wrestling's on a different level than a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. When did you start wrestling, and what kind of pushed you towards it?
So with training in general, I started jiu-jitsu whenever I was in 6th grade. I started at Dark Side, one of the more no-gi schools. Started there, and then I wrestled my freshman year of high school. So started late because in Iowa, people wrestling since they were 6. So started wrestling in 9th grade. And then all throughout high school, and then went up there for 4 more years, got my bachelor's, and just wrestled for Briarcliff University as an NAIA school. up in Sioux City, a small little town. Ain't nothing to do but wrestle, pretty much.
Yeah. You know, you see people like Bo Nickel, they show pictures of him because
Mhm.
as a little kid, and
Oh.
I had the chance to interview Gino Morelli, who is, you know, a Penn State guy as well. I think he's out in South Carolina now, but
Mm-hmm.
we did we broadcasted his pro MMA debut
Oh, it's
with
dope.
Paradigm Combat Sports. But we did an interview before. He was like, yeah, I started wrestling late compared to, you know, some of the other those guys that are from that area. That's just what they do. Like,
Yeah.
but you know, you can even still become high level, like a Gino Morelli, go wrestle at Penn State or whatever. Um, even if you start later, but I guess it would be nice to have that head start. I mean, I guess just the discipline and just the
Yeah.
difference, or
Yeah, so the big difference I say in competition there is like here in Texas, like especially with the way the points go, like someone get a takedown and a few minutes or a few seconds go by, then they start scoring more. Up there, they're just everything's back to back to back. Like if you get taken down, next thing you know, you're down by like 5, 6 points. You got
yeah,
taken down, putting your back, and these kids just it's like second nature to them. So they just chain wrestle a lot, just putting moves together. So that was definitely something my first year I had to learn and catch up to. And just in general, I think I started a lot of my combat stuff late. But what helped with MMA is that, I'm not the greatest wrestler. I'm not the greatest boxer, not the greatest Muay Thai. But I mean, in a fight, put it all together. I mean, I'm going to mix it up on you. So,
yeah,
so kind of that helps me a lot. Just kind of knowing a lot about little and just, just really
right.
pulling from everything.
Did you watch any of the wrestling during the Olympics?
Not this time, cause it was kind of during the weight cut, so I definitely just stayed in bed. Whenever I wasn't working out, I was resting. So
Yeah, I know 2028 the Olympics are going to be in I guess LA, which I'm excited for because the time zone difference. So, you know, with the way things are now, you get notifications. It's like, oh,
yeah,
he's like, hey, I can't watch it. You know, at 9 a.m. there's this stuff that's going on. You know, so it'll be in LA. So at least the prime time we'll be able to watch some of these things live. But I tried to keep up with some of it. I'm not a wrestler,
yeah,
but I do appreciate it. And it's really cool to watch these people at the highest level when possible, right?
yeah. I know a lot, especially like with women's wrestling. A lot of ladies from Texas and a lot of women's Texas wrestling has been blown up since when I was in high school. It started taking off. Like I know there was a girl from Morton Ranch. I forget her name, but she wrestled in the Olympics,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's
I
definitely
think
great
she's
to
in the
see that.
WWE now.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
she was at the last Olympics, the
I
2020,
I
2021.
believe so.
Yeah,
She like really really dark skinned
right.
hair. Yeah.
Yeah, now she's in the WWE. So
Mm.
from there, she won a gold medal, I believe. And then after that, I mean, her life has changed forever from the gold medal as it is. And now,
That's one thing with gold medal wrestlers. Like, I mean, it's just a different type of grit. Like, you see, like, Kurt Angle over here with the broken neck winning. See Cejudo, it's definitely, I think wrestling is definitely made me figure out, like, you either with it or you're not. Like, it builds that grit for you and it really makes you see if you're a dog or not.
right,
So, it's a different mindset. Like, wrestling is one of the hardest practices, I say, in my opinion.
right.
But, yeah, I seen someone talk about how you could do like an hour of jiu-jitsu and like you learn a lot of things, but our wrestling it's definitely you're done after that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned Henry Cejudo and Kurt Angle, but who are some people that I guess you look up to when it comes to either wrestling or MMA that you want to model your game after, or things like that?
Yeah, so wrestling wise, I definitely grew up with Jordan Burroughs. Like that's something like he was my favorite shoe too. So I probably got like 16 pairs of wrestling shoes, most of them Jordan Burroughs. So that helped a lot with the wrestling. And then for MMA wise, I've been watching it since I was a kid, like ever since I was 10. And, the ones that stood out a lot was the Diaz brothers. Definitely that like not caring attitude, walking around like you're going to watch me one way or another. And then more recently, I've been focusing a lot of Corey Sandhagen because he's definitely like just his thoughts on everything, his insights. He's definitely someone who knows a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so like just picking apart his game, like I see a lot of the like the stance switches I like. I've been really following his striking like logic. Cause I mean everyone knows how to throw 1-2, everyone knows how to throw hook. But it's very like he tells you different like mindsets, different plans. Some like if you go into striking with someone, you get in a range you don't like, back out, reset, give a different look. And I definitely see a lot of him like really just throwing stuff at the wall. If it sticks, run with it. If not, then just move along. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely like that to replicate my own game.
Yeah, and he kind of got jumped I think he might have lost his last fight if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, he had wins against some guys, and he probably should have got a title shot.
Mm-hmm.
But then with the politics, not politics, but hey, the matchups make fights, and there's a storyline here.
Yeah.
He kind of got jumped, and now I mean he's a great fighter though. He's good everywhere.
100%.
He's a great striker, and he's just good.
Yeah, I think especially with him, just in general, like so. Yeah, he lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, and uh, him getting jumped. I think he wants to chase that fight, so I think that's why he was very no one beat Nurmagomedov, no one out wrestled him. So like you seen when he fought Font and Cheeto, he was very wrestling heavy, and you're like, oh, he's not a wrestler, but you could tell he was
Yeah.
preparing
Oh yeah.
for that. So you could see he like builds up parts of his game, and that's great to see. Like of course, like everyone knows he's a striker. And it's great to see him moving on to something else. Like with my first fight, I grappled a lot. So with this fight coming up, I was like, you know what, I want to showcase my striking. And halfway through the fight, my legs I took a lot of leg kicks, and so I was like, you know what, looks like we striking now, and I definitely showcased a lot of my different skills. So everyone now starting to see I'm not just a wrestler. So I
Yeah.
think that's great.
So that last fight, it was a title fight, but it's 5 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you prepare for something like that? And I mean, being in there, did you feel prepared? I know you say your legs gave out, but you take kicks and things happen. But let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, I felt real prepared. So actually originally I was supposed to fight someone else, and like in the previous interview we had I ended up getting a call like 2 weeks before the fight saying, if you want a title shot. I'm like, yeah, might as well. Well, not might as well. And of course I want the opportunity, who doesn't want a title? So we talked to my coach about it. He's like, no, your cardio is great. Like I think I had the best camps of my 2 fights. I think it was the better camp, and he really said the cardio was good. You just need to do a different pace. 3-minute rounds, it's short time, so you gotta pick the pace up. If you got 5, you could really find your pace, find your rhythm. And so cardio wise, I think I was doing good. Definitely, I felt like I was prepared walking in there. Compared to the first fight, like a lot of takeaways I could say is that when my first fight, right before I walked out, I was nervous. Like I felt my chest beating. I felt like the nerves for the first fight. For the second one, I walked out like I felt calm in the bag. I felt really relaxed when I walked out. I felt at home. I felt at peace. And so the first round, we just came out swinging. Like me and him went balls to the wall. Like I try to prove a point. Like how Tyson used to say, like whenever someone walk in the ring with him, he puts his eyes on him, and that's like his food. He's not gonna take his eyes off. I try to do the same thing, but he didn't take his eyes off me. So I'm like, oh, this is a fight. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna go at it. And like we didn't even touch gloves to the fourth. Like me and him, we were just both game, and we are just going at it. And I think I really appreciate it. I know that he appreciated it. I know that everyone watching definitely loved that fight.
Oh yeah, but respect. It was earned and definitely given. I feel like on both sides. For sure.
100%. Even with the loss, I mean, no one wants to lose, but I mean, even with that loss, I was proud of what I did out there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely showcase. I'm made to be a fighter. I definitely showcase. I know probably a few people in the division, they probably see me like, oh, why he could tell shot? He only got 2 fights, and then at the end of it, I was like, now you see why I got this shot.
Yeah.
And now everyone else who I fight after, you definitely gonna not want to fight me at first, but I mean, at the end of the day, you got to fight somebody. Why not me?
Does competing like on the Elevate Submission Series stage or those grappling competitions like that, where there is the crowd, there's the music, does that even compare at all to MMA, or does it help you get prepared or like comfortable? And I see a lot of fighters as they do that, like I'm going to compete more. Okay, I'm going to get in the cage. Does it help at all? Or is it a totally different ball game?
It does help whenever you're the center of attention. I would say like with the wrestling tournaments, that helped a lot because I mean in Texas I was always like in the finals or at least, so I'm used to being all eyes on me. And then one thing that I was getting used to was being more of a showsman. When you walk out, you gotta promote yourself. You gotta do this. So that's why I like came up with the brand. Like I got that. I walked out with a tornado. It was an emblem like a tornado, and then like me in the middle. Walked out with a cowboy hat. Really, really showcasing my colors, showcasing that yeah, I'm a fighter, but I'm also entertaining to watch. So I think always being out in the lights is always gonna help. I mean, you just build that experience with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about at the weigh-ins? And I'm thinking about the fight. Sometimes whenever, and I'll say is Marco Esparza, that's who that fight was against. But Marco comes out and he always asks, hey, can I see it? And he's like, I look crazy. And I'm like, dude, you do look crazy because he wide eyes. And he's just like so excited. You can tell he's passionate. he's passionate about it, but um so I can see that, like, you know, I can just imagine even being in there and having that person staring at you. I'm like, you know, but you're not backing down. No, like, hey, we're gonna do this. But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, man, with the eyes. I showed my family and they're like, is he on something? I was like, no, he's the nicest kid ever, actually.
Yeah,
He was so respectful. And when he did it, like whenever we were talking, it was never disrespect. He was always like, let's put on a show, let's do
right.
a great fight. And
Fight of the night. That's what you say.
yeah, yeah, fight night. And it definitely was and you know, like some people gotta like whenever the lights are on them, they gotta like, you know, like if you're new to acting, you gotta act more. You gotta like overact and stuff like that. And I don't think he was overacting. I think that draws something out of him. And my thing was like when he did that, in my mindset, I was like, man, I'm gonna hurt you. Like so when he's doing that to me, you see my eyes more relaxed. Like, all right, bro, you
Right.
do all this. This ain't gonna matter when we're in the cage. And it definitely helped him because we definitely like whenever we did the face offs in the middle and we touched gloves, like I seen the eyes and I was like, all right, like he's not scared and
Right.
he's ready for a war.
Yeah.
So let's bring it up war.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. I think it was man, who did John Jones fight that one time? And he was like, it was one of his last, maybe his last fight at light heavyweight before he kind of retired and came back at heavyweight. It was Reyes. But it was like a lot of people were assuming that he lost, but he was like, he said he was questioning himself in the cage. He's like, I saw him looking at me. He's like, he's not scared. He knows who I am. I'm John Jones.
Yeah.
You know, and he started doubting myself and then came to be like, no, I just have to put that self-doubt away. I'm John Jones, and went out there and finished it. But I know it was a questionable win according to a lot of people who, I mean, everyone's an expert right there. We're all couch experts.
Everyone is on the UFC.
But still, yeah. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Yater.
All right. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Yater. So he's put on 2 fights with Elevate FC, and he's put on a show, had highlight finishes for both of them. So walk me through, I guess, that last fight from your perspective, and then what's up with him? What's up with that guy?
And so with this last fight, so me and him were like one fight. He fought, there was a fight, and there was me. So I didn't get to watch it in person. And I just told him in the back, I was like, hey, good luck, bro. I'm sorry, I'm not watching. I was like, I need to focus on me. And he goes and comes right back. I'm like, bro, that's it. Like, how long was the fight? And so yeah, he ended up knocking out his guy, and I want to say like 38 seconds, something like that. And he's a young cat. I think he's 19, 20. I think he just turned 20. Definitely been in that gym for the longest. I remember I used to wrestle in high school, and I'll go to that gym and like wrestle with them, and I'll see him as a little kid with us.
Okay.
And so whenever I left for school, came back, I'm like, you look familiar, but you look way taller than who you are. I'm like, and yeah, Yater's definitely a big influence in that gym. It's good to see like a bunch of different looks, and you know, like Yater is someone in there. Like it's hard to spar Yater. It's hard to like match up with him because I mean he's just different. And I will say like the with our fight week, like, I felt good going through a training camp with someone. You know, me and him, it was always like, how you feeling? You okay? It was good to like, you know, like have a brother to train with. And so I remember like 3 days before the fights, we're like not sparring, we're just hitting pads. I'm holding pads for him, and he's like pulling the pad from my shoulder. I'm like, man, bro, you hit it hard.
Chill out.
Yeah. Yeah, he was looking sharp, and you know, I think for 2 fights, he's probably been in that cage for about 5 minutes at the most. So definitely excited for him, and you know, I'm ready to see him get tested. I'm ready to see him, you know, do bigger and better things.
Yeah, you know, he has good size. He's young, and I wasn't sure how long he'd been training, but apparently he's been training for a bit. So yeah, Yater Muller, if you haven't seen him, check out his social media, and you can even go look on YouTube on Clear Life Media and check out those highlights, or look at Yater Elevate FC's Instagram. Some of those highlights are up there as well. But he's, I guess it's, and I asked him at the weigh-ins for this last one. I was like, hey, on your first fight, I watched every angle recorded because we recorded every angle, and I'm trying to, it's like you touched him, but it looks like you barely touched him. Is like a timing thing, or you just have crazy power, you know, to be able to get the finish. And he was like, yeah, it's time. He's like, it's a timing thing, placement and all that. But that's exciting to watch.
He says, yeah, it's definitely a timing thing, but also like with his last knockout, like you could see, like I think he tried to throw a hook, but he barely got out like this far. It was like it was extended. Yeah, it's like, bro, how do you generate that much power? But I would say since he was a kid, whenever he was at the gym, he ran his basics like every day, and then whenever we had our fight camp after every training session. He'll run his basics and every little just walking down lines, work his jab, work his cross for like 5 minutes. So definitely good to see. Like I think it's his fundamentals because he's not doing crazy shots. He's doing hooks and jabs,
Mm-hmm.
and those hooks and jabs put someone down.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me a little bit about the Fight Lab Texas. Like, what's it like training there? And I know that I'll see some of the people competing on the submission series and some other things as well. But what's it like training there?
So training there, I've only been at the gym for about 2 years. I first started there because one of my close friends, he actually was one of their first fighters there. His name's Alan Reyes. He fought in Fury a few times. He was actually in my corner for my first fight. So he hits me up saying that they want to do a wrestling class if I'm interested in coaching. So I went over there and I started coaching for a few months. And then one of their jiu-jitsu coaches, Coach Ryan, he definitely pulled me aside. He's like, do you just want to wrestle? Or I'm like, no, I want to fight. And he's like, well, if you want to fight, you need to train other stuff. And I was like, all right. And so started training there, and one thing that I do love about that gym is that there's ego gyms everywhere. There, you feel at home. Like everyone's welcome there. Everyone's like you have the people whose hobby is, you have the fighters, you have most of the grapplers. So training there, I think it's a lot. Like I feel at home there. I feel at peace. It's like community there,
Yeah.
and it's mostly a jiu-jitsu school, but we do have striking, so it's pretty much. Like it's nothing traditional. We do wear the gi, but you know how like gyms will be very, we do warm-ups and then we do this drill, then we do that. There, we have our set schedule, but for our jiu-jitsu it's very structured. For our striking it's very like, we're not gonna do a whole class on teaching you how to do a 1-2. We're gonna work stance switches. We're not stance switches, but working in the mirror stance. If someone checks it like this, it's very they teach you more, not necessarily the basic of fight, but they teach you different mythologies, different ways to go about a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I truly love. It's very at your own pace, and if you want to do something, they'll guide you through it every time. Like coaches were very proud. Like whenever he asked me if I want to fight, I was like, yeah, I want to fight. And then whenever I first started there, I was big. I was like 190, definitely just wasn't ready to fight. And then my coach was like, I'm proud you won your first fight, but I'm really proud that you set your goal to fight and that you followed through with it. And now I'm one of the more seasoned competitors there. We only have about 3 or 4 handful of fighters, but we got a lot of jiu-jitsu guys. I think the last Elevate series that I competed on was about 8 of us. That was
Right.
on it. This next one coming up, about 5 of us. We got a kid. He's probably like 15. He is 15. We got his blue belt on the wall. So you can't get your blue until you're 16. We have his set side, and he's actually competing at blue belt at this next Elevate.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his birthday's in October, so we're like, all right, bro, just
Wait.
yeah, you got a few more months.
This is your chance to go earn it. Yeah, at 16, go prove you belong.
Yeah,
That's
most
pretty cool.
definitely. Yeah, so it's great to see like that everyone wants to compete, and it's great to
Yeah.
iron sharpens iron. You want to compete, I'm gonna push you to compete as well.
Right. One thing I noticed, Fight Lab brings a crowd. Whenever there's a Fight Lab fighter, you and Yater on the last card and one before, or even the Elevate Submission Series cards. Whenever one of y'all hit the walkway coming out, the music hits, smoke, whatever it is, they turn up. You can tell there's a lot of support. So I know, and I see that, I'm like, oh, that's a gym that's. I don't want to say that we're different, but there's the camaraderie there. That's like a family. That's a good gym to me.
Yeah, great. It's real great. And even like the people who couldn't make it, like whenever we finished our fights, we go on Instagram, we see 30 TVs, people out of town. Just I'm sorry I couldn't make it, but I'm still watching your fight. Like
Yeah.
it great to. It's like my second home. It's great to be a part of a community that really like supports you like that.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned how one of the coaches was like, hey, do you want to fight? Is there anything else you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to fight? Or I mean, it's a lot of work, but what is it that give you like that drive to want to do it?
Man, since I was a little kid, I wasn't a bad kid, but I was always fine as a kid. Just always getting into it in the schoolyard. And it wasn't until like 6th grade that I was like, you know what, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. And so I started like really training more. And then when I really started to look at the art like that, it's something about like beauty in the chaos. Like, yeah, it looks violent, which it is, don't get me wrong, but like you seeing like beautiful like one of our guys, Brian, hit a flying armbar at the last submission series, and bro, like that's amazing to watch. Like, bro, we see you drill that every day in training, and you go out there and do it. Like, that's great. Yater working his basics and then going out there doing that. It's definitely like something that made me want to be a fighter is just really uh putting on my art and then showing like, this is where I belong. Like, I'm not the strongest person, I'm not the biggest, but I am a fighter, and no matter what, no one's gonna make me quit. If you want me out of there, you got to put me down.
Mm,
And I don't know, it's just that, it's that pride. It's that whenever
right.
I walk in that cage, there's nothing on my mind. It's quiet to me, and it's just very, very like peaceful.
Hmm.
It feels very peaceful for me. It feels like my home. It feels like I was born to be in this cage.
Right. I would say that you would have to have that. It's just a part of who you are. Because I've had the chance to talk to a lot of fighters. Train at gym, see people training, and like you're born with that in there. Because just being able, walking in a cage, that's not normal.
No.
Most people don't even walk in a gym to hit a bag or
Mm-mm.
grapple. So that's a huge step. And then even being like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna do it, and then actually walking through with it, and then be like, I did it, I'm gonna do it again and again,
Exactly.
and just
Exactly.
have fun with it, see where it goes, or whatever, right?
Yeah, and it's really exposing. Like, like everyone says they want to be a fighter. It's like, all right, you can put the work in to be a fighter. I feel like in that cage, everything gets exposed. It's gonna show if you did your workouts. It's gonna show if you ate right. And one of my coaches actually brought it up after my fight. Like, so I ended up breaking my hand in the early rounds, and then like midway through the third, I started freaking out, and I go back to the corner, and they're like, "What's wrong?" Like, I can't close my hand, and they're like, "All right, well, just breathe, you're fine." I start freaking out, and then I'm like, "Well, you're already here." And then by the time fifth round rolls around, I'm like, "Bro, what round is it?" And it was like fifth round. I was like, "All right, it's broken, bro. Just throw it." I was like, You're already here. Everyone's here watching you. I mean, might as well just finish it with the bang." And it's very it's very once you finish, it's like, yeah, I did that. No one else did that but me. And of course, the team helps me out, but at the end of the day, in that cage, it's gonna show if you're a quitter, if you're a fighter.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you can see the cast on you
yeah.
now. I was going to bring that up. So, I mean, those injuries happen in fights or even in training. But I mean, how is that doing right now?
Feels good. Really, it wasn't really much pain. After the fights, it was just fat. It was like twice as big, and I couldn't really close it. And so, went to the doctors. Just fractured the main knuckle, that pointer knuckle. So it's in like two, three pieces. But luckily, it was in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like at least, well, that's what I tell myself. It wasn't a bad punch. I just hit too hard for my own body.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they just got me in this for about 3-4 weeks. So I'm gonna just relax for like 2 weeks, let my body rest, and then the other 2 weeks just start moving again, because I want to get big. I want to get too big,
Right.
and fighting flyweights, it's a way down.
Yeah. Outside of fighting, what do you have time for? What are you into outside of it?
So outside of it, usually, especially with this camp, I was either at work or training. But I actually just left my previous job. I used to be in inside sales for construction equipment, just like the big dozers, just really helping those out. But now end up getting a new job as a wrestling coach, and I'll be teaching at a high school, and really excited for that. I'm really really happy to be like a positive influence, like a mentor to kids, and it feels great to um show that, yeah, wrestling really helped me out in my life. It took me to school, it took me to get a scholarship, uh it pretty much kept me out of trouble. And then all things I learned from it, like with wrestling, like you gotta learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You gotta embrace the grind. You gotta uh build that grit. And just one thing I learned from wrestling is that no matter what you do, just each day, just get at least 1% better. Whether it's working, whether it's training, at least 1% better. So it's great to, with this new job, to really do something that I love and really be a good influence on young minds.
Yeah. Was that a goal that you had? Like, I want to go back and teach wrestling, or just kind of came about and you're like, no, I'd like to do that? Or how did that even start?
So originally, I did want to go back to coach from my old high school, and I did for a bit, but then it was very time consuming getting my teaching certification, and then with this job, whenever I first moved, I was terrible managing my money. So, I was working to train and pay my bills. I was really, I don't think it was a great timing. And so I think now that I'm a little older, I'm a little wiser, that, uh, just that opportunity to go teach just came back. And, I feel like it's, right place, right time. And, to let me at least grow. Cause, at first when I got out of college, I wasn't in the greatest mindset, greatest time of my life. And so after, uh, really before my first fight, like 6 months before that, I really like focused on my self care. I'm really trying to be happy, trying to be, doing something with my life. And so now, whenever I did my first fight, I'm like, all right, cool. That was the first go out the way. Now let's get going.
Mm-hmm.
And so with throwing the second fight, really just training helped a lot, really helped me grow a lot. Like I remember in last July, the first weekend I did a Muay Thai competition. Next weekend I went to, oh wait, when was the last Elevate
Elevate.
submission series that I did? It was like March, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
yeah.
sounds right.
So it was the month of March. First week I did a Muay Thai competition, and then next week I went to Dallas and wrestled at a tournament. Third week I went to Elevate. So it was always, giving me new goals, new
Right.
things to strive for, and yeah, felt like all those really just like putting knowledge in the piggy bank, really
Mm-hmm.
trying to build myself more. And now that I feel like with the second fight, showcasing what I did and then doing what I did. Now I'm like, you know what? Now I not only could better myself, but I could better other people.
Yeah,
So definitely, just setting goals is definitely helping a lot. And I think now I'm ready to be educator. Really, really teaching other people what I learned.
that's cool.
Mm.
There's a fighter that we've had the chance to broadcast some of his fights and do interviews with. His name's Ivan, but he got a scholarship to play soccer. Um, Atslan boxing gym. So him and his dad, some of the 4 ounce guys will go over there and do some striking. So Josh Van, like we'll go over there. Josh
Mm-hmm.
Van will be over there, flyweight in the UFC now, and then like Jay Alderate. I'm not sure how to say his last name. I know he fights for Fury, but he's a young Ami guy. He has a title fight coming up, but. I know his dad has a gym too, but you'll see a lot of guys like we go over there. That's Ivan's dad's gym. So Ivan, scholarship in soccer, came back and now he's a teacher and a coach. And so we went to his school and we're filming a thing with them with permission from the school. It's kind of a cool thing, but talking to the students as they're able to, like, what do you think? And they're going and watching Ivan's fights on the computers in the computer lab. And it was just that perspective of seeing like, wow, like he does this, he's undefeated. He does this, but I can just see that happening for you, being an educator, a wrestling coach, a teacher, an educator, but then it's like, not only can you teach it, I mean, you're doing it currently, and then they can go back and watch all these things, see you're the real deal. Like I can do, if I want to, I can just imagine how much inspiration that is for those kids, depending on whatever they want to do. It's like, man, no, he really, not only can he teach, but he's doing it. He does it. So
Yeah, most
that's
definitely.
cool.
And it's kind of funny because what was telling one of my sisters about it, I was like, it's kind of good that I'm just starting to be an educator now because I barely got over that hump that, like, you know what, I'm an adult now. I be forgetting sometimes, like something happened, like I need an adult. Wait, I'm an adult. Let me handle this.
Yeah.
Especially so I help coach a kids class at Fight Lab 2, and at first, I wasn't really comfortable teaching kids. And I think just doing it every day really helped a lot. And so now, like, I got nieces and nephews. I don't have kids. I mean, I'm only 24, so I'll see my niece and nephew, and just recently I would like tell them do something, like start to instruct them, and they'll be like, where this come from?
Yeah.
You were the cool uncle, but
Right.
I'll listen now.
Or wait till the kids, or even in the kids class, and they may do this already, be like, yes, sir. And it's like,
Yeah, like,
yes, sir. Like, who you like,
whoa.
who you talking to? It's like, you coach, or whatever.
And like in striking class too, like someone will like ask me something, and then I'll teach them, and they'll be like, "Thank you, sir." I'm like, "Bro, we're the same age. Like, you're
Yeah.
probably older than me."
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, cool. So what are your goals? Like, even, I guess, even with this new job or like in fighting, where do you see this going in the future?
I definitely do want to go pro. I do want to fight. I do want to make to UFC. So right now, I just want to build experience as an amateur. Like I said before, I'd fight anybody, anywhere. So especially I know with amateurs, it's the time to fight. And only 2 fights in, I already been in that cage for 8 rounds. I just did this 5, then went to 3 with Jacob Bryan. So I feel like already so young, I'm definitely building a lot of experience. So I definitely want that Elevate belt by the time I leave Elevate, and by the time I go pro, just keep fighting, and then just make a name for myself. Like I want to be remembered for a good reason, and I definitely want to be remembered as a fighter.
Yeah. What's your experience, I guess, competing for Elevate? How has that been for you?
Man, it's been real smooth. One thing that helps me a lot is I'm very I listen to my coach no matter what. So whenever Chris or or someone will hit me up about a competition, I'm like, yeah, let me just get my coach, and if they're down for it, I'm always down for it. So it's been real smooth. With my first Elevate submission series, it was actually the first time I competed at blue belt. 'Cause I just got the blue belt the beginning of this year whenever I was fighting for my first fight. And so that was definitely a new experience. Definitely, it was funny because I always say it was a jiu-jitsu match, but I didn't know jiu-jitsu. It was a wrestling match. We stayed standing the whole like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I got like 3 takedowns and I won the match.
Yeah.
But definitely is definitely a really good promotion in my opinion, because for being so young, they're doing a lot. Definitely, the crowds there, not only the Fight Lab crowds, but like that place is packed by the time
Right.
you leave,
Yeah.
and just makes everything just better, that I'm not worried that something's gonna go wrong. Especially with the promotion, like the last thing I want to worry about is problems. I just want to
Right.
get in there, focus on myself, and I think Elevate, both the FC and the submission series, is definitely growing big, and I like being a part of it.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch as it's just gotten bigger and
Mhm.
bigger, and the shows are getting bigger and bigger, and the cards are getting better and better, and just like more events, and then with the pro card, and there's another one coming up as well. So it's an opportunity for, there's a lot of Houston fighters and gyms and people
Yeah.
who are coming up, and then you can't fit everybody on one card, but it's like there's more opportunities, and I think that just helps everybody. Helps
Yeah.
everybody win. Fighters, gyms,
Yeah, most
everybody.
definitely. So I had my first fight in January of this year, and I told myself, the goal I want to get 3 or 4 fights this year. So originally I was supposed to fight on that first pro and amateur card.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting injured in camp, so that got pushed back, and so that's why I started fighting so late. So now with this hand, it's looking like maybe 3 fights, but I don't want to force this injury to
Right.
come back.
Yeah.
But if not another fight, then I'll try to get in another submission series. Just want to be active. Still young, so might as well run this body out until I can't.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Talking to Marcelo Perez, Marcelo the Mixer Perez. Marcelo, is there anything else that you'd like to share or talk about?
um yeah, so right now I just started doing a vlog series on YouTube. So if y'all want to check that out, it's under Hello It's Cello. Hello, one word, Cello, CEOO. My Instagram, htx.ceoo. And just check us out, check out the Fight Lab. We're definitely gonna be showing out a lot more. We definitely got a lot more things cooking in there, so it's gonna be great.
Does the vlog cover like fight camp, daily life, just everything, or what is it? What's it on?
So I try to keep it about usually circling around like fighting. I don't want to be there just rambling about what I ate. I want to keep it centered around there. So when I first started doing it, I've kept it like I showed some training, but with the fight camp, I didn't want to put a lot of my training footage out there.
Right.
So now with this injury healing, now I'm starting to put more videos in the school, just showcasing other people they're training, just trying to promote myself, promote the team, and just getting my face out there.
No, that's so important, as a fighter, because all these fighters, I know you're part of the Fight Lab Texas, you fight for Elevate, and all these things, but it's also, you are the brand.
Mm-hmm.
You build up your following, you build up people that want to watch you and pay to see you. That, I feel like that, first of all, that's a whole way to make money if you want to, because you can, with brand deals or whatever, but then also if a promoter knows they can sell tickets and they're good, like what's up, why wouldn't I want to sign that fighter?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, like with this too, like whenever you ask me about this, like, man, I'm off all week. Like
Yeah.
for tomorrow, yeah, I'll do it. Let's do it. Just definitely, and plus, it's a good experience. Not everyone's able to do this. So it's like if the opportunity is given to you, try it. If you don't like it, don't do it again. But if you do, then run with it.
Yeah. I feel like does it come natural to you?
At first, no. At first, I was definitely very shy, very had a bad stuttering problem, so that was like hard to get over. And like my story was so bad that I'm Mexican, I'm Hispanic. I don't speak no Spanish because whenever I was a kid, my parents like, bro, you can't even speak English. We're not teaching you Spanish, bro. Like, yeah, how you don't know one full language? So it's definitely something you gotta keep trying, you gotta keep doing, and definitely I think fighting built my confidence, because like, you know what, like you could stand across somebody for 5 minutes, you can't talk to someone for 5 minutes, so it definitely helped a lot.
Yeah.
So I think now it's starting to come more natural.
Awesome. Remind people one more time, how can they follow you on Instagram and follow that blog?
All right, so on Instagram it's gonna be htx.ceo. Houston, Texas, Cello. On YouTube is gonna be Hello with Cello, one word. And they're all like linked in together. So you find one, you'll find the rest. So appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much for making time. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's Clear Life Combat. Make sure y'all follow us on YouTube, Clear Life Media, and follow us on all social media platforms. Y'all be blessed.